You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com. Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Dakota Davis. As always, I'm joined by our co-host, Jeremiah Morrell.
Hi, Dakota.
And to my right, we are sitting here with Jeremiah's baby brother, Danny. He's Jeremiah's baby brother, but he's still much older than I.
Good evening.
You having a good day, Danny?
Yeah, it's been good.
He is in the good chair.
Yeah, he is. This is your fourth time on the show, right?
Cost me $37.
$37 to get in the good chair. To my left is Jesse Riddle, who did not pay the $37 to get into the good chair.
I was paid to come here.
You were paid to come here?
$37.
What?
Yes.
Weird. It was your $37. That's why you had to pay it.
At this point.
Yeah.
It just made sense.
It makes sense. I'll buy you dinner sometime. Apparently not tonight, but sometime.
Nope. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. This is a show about folks who are involved in politics or people we just find interesting. You just made that up, didn't you? Do you usually make that up? This is my first time going through this.
No, you're doing great.
Am I doing great?
Yeah.
Okay. We promise our episodes are going to be a fun, easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks we just find interesting.
There it is.
That's where it came in.
There it is.
All right.
We're so far out of practice.
I've been under the influence, but not really an influencer.
I think just by being on the show, you're an influencer. It's the truth.
I think that you're someone we just find interesting.
Maybe that's true.
Mildly.
My much younger brother.
Jeremiah has always found you interesting because you're his brother.
And he talks about me all the time.
It's kind of an obligation at this point.
Does Danny talk about me all the time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just in different ways.
Right.
It's more negative.
Yeah.
But
damn Jeremiah. Oh, man. So we took last week off.
We did.
It was Thanksgiving, so that was a pretty good reason to not get together for a show.
Yeah, it was. We
And,
could have done it Black Friday and just reported on all of the riots that were happening at the local Walmart.
Oh my gosh! My closing story is about the local Walmart today.
Is it?
Well, I'm going to tease that now. So if you don't have time to watch the entire show, scan until the end, and you're going to get a little bit of Walmart story.
There we go.
But yeah, so that was pretty much it. We had Thanksgiving and then Black Friday shopping. I put up Christmas lights, and that's pretty much what we did, right?
That's not at all what I did.
That's
I
right.
did put up the Christmas lights and the Christmas tree.
2 weeks ago Friday, you and I did some pickleback shots.
We did.
And then
my father bought us those.
Yeah, your dad was
put that credit in there.
On point. Yes, thank you, Jeff Davis. And the next thing I knew, you were married, and I didn't see you for weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I had to take a break. Too much forced friendship.
Too much forced friendship. So the wedding went well. I got to stand there with you.
You did.
We were looking fly. Like there were some things that went horribly wrong over the course of the day.
Yes.
As we arrived at the church, you realized that you didn't have the rings.
That's correct.
An hour before wedding time.
Yep. So Trevor, my best man, and myself got into the truck, and we sped off like a bat out of hell. And we started driving, and I was like, you know what? I better call somebody and make sure that it was really my responsibility to grab the rings. So I called Audrey's mother. Audrey's sister answered the phone, and I said, hey, does someone have the rings? And she goes, oh, yeah, Monica grabbed them.
Great.
Oh, my God.
So it just looked like you left.
Yeah, it just looked like he and the best man left, wheels burning.
Tires squealing out of the parking lot.
Your dad was pulling in and was like, where in the hell is Dakota going? So, yeah. So that happened. You got married in your Puma socks.
I did. I forgot my dress socks. The navy dress socks. We had navy suits and brown shoes, and I accidentally forgot my navy socks and wore black ones.
I put on my my tux shirt, and I realized I was missing one of the key buttons right there in the middle of my shirt.
You also didn't have an undershirt to wear.
I didn't bring an undershirt. I forgot my pocket square.
Yes, you did.
The best man forgot his belt.
Yep.
Chase, the middleman. I was the low man. Chase was the middleman, and then you had the best man, and then the groom. Chase, the middleman, who's been on the show a couple of times now, or at least once. He went with his measurements from 3 years ago and looked like he was wearing his skinny jeans.
He did. He was like, "This is really going to motivate me to lose some weight."
Sure did.
We all know that doesn't work. Chase just learned that for the first time, apparently. He said the situation kind of reminded him of whenever you buy a pair of straight leg pants at the store, but it turns out that they're actually skinny jeans. And I'm here to tell you right now, like his suit pants did not have the crease in the thighs because they were so stretched.
It was
out.
just pressed.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I was terrified he was just going to rip them at any point.
And then the best man, we spent most of the first hour trying to button his top button on his shirt.
Yep.
He was, but after all of that, it still worked out.
It did.
The women, I think, had their stuff together much more than we did. I didn't hear any troubles out of that.
They also arrived at the church 2 hours before we did. They had a lot more time.
How early did you arrive?
An hour and a half before ceremony time.
The ceremony was at 4, and I think we were told to be there around 3. And we were pretty close.
Correct.
And then Dakota left at 3:15. But we did all right.
You also said ass while we were taking pictures.
Oh, Audrey, Mrs. Davis is off in the corner talking to us.
Yep. You mentioned a profanity in the house of God.
Oh, okay. So there was a small. We were taking pictures. I did. I may have said something to the photographer about. So you want me to grab her ass? Because I was just trying to get things done, and
apparently that's how you get things done if you're someone like Jeremiah Morrell or Matt Lauer.
Just saying.
Yeah.
We were taking our photographs, and they wanted me to get closer to Audrey, and I was like, "Is this what you want, lady?" And apparently it was. She took the picture, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Audrey's face looks like later.
I had family pictures with the Wheelers the weekend before Thanksgiving, and just photographers.
The Wheelers being your significant other's family,
my girlfriend's family, and photographers. I don't feel like always think out like what the poses are going to be. So with her whole family standing there, the photographer said, "Well, just reach around her and put your arms over her shoulders, and then just squeeze." Well, naturally, I do that, and it turned out to be a fairly awkward photo.
I mean, think about where your hands are.
Yeah, the over-the-shoulder boulder holder, right? Here I come.
Funny.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
All right, so the wedding happened. We had the reception. That all went well.
Yep. You brought a flask to the ceremony.
I did. So the night before, Dakota gave all of his groomsmen a great little package. He gave us coolers for growlers. He gave us all our favorite spirit. So I got some vodka. And then we got flasks. And I assumed that if we were given flasks and liquor, we were supposed to bring it the next day. So I did. I filled my flask and brought a little bit of whiskey. And as is tradition, I led the drinking party in the basement before there was
tradition.
Anytime I've done that in the past.
Okay.
But the last time you did that, it didn't turn out so well. Correct, Danny?
The day was fun. The ending was expensive.
So you drank in the bottom of a church and then threw swear words.
Yeah.
Correct.
Did Jesus come in and throw tables?
I'm not sure I'm going to be welcome back in Friends Church
whip.
anytime real soon.
The only thing we were missing was some like roulette tables, blackjack tables.
I did bring the cards. We ran out of time, but we were going to play poker. Chase and I were counting out cards, and then you realized that the rings were actually in the building, so you came back too quick. But we were getting ready to set up the casino down in the basement.
Oh my gosh!
Amanda Harden is letting me know that flasks will be very welcome at her wedding in September that I'll be attending. She's Sarah Potter's cousin, so. I will bring the flask. So I even got the mother of the bride. She came down. She was pinning on our flowers, and I got Monica to do a shot with us.
She grabbed the flask and said, "What is it?" Glug, 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 glug.
Yeah,
like just
no time to answer.
Yeah, didn't even wait for someone to answer her what was in the flask. She just started drinking.
It could have been my Bosnian war criminal juice. And it would have ended it all. Man, so that was the that was the wedding ceremony. It went well. Audrey showed up, and nobody cried. I did during the walkthrough. I did take a couple pictures and get yelled at as well. I was a massive distraction. You should not invite me back to be in your wedding again. If you have another one.
Oh, I've already made that decision.
You shouldn't let me be in it, Dakota. I was very disruptive.
Lesson learned. I was told that my best man was crying during the ceremony.
He was much taller. Though for the first time ever, he was much taller than me because I stood
usually he comes
on the lowest
about right here.
Yeah, he's about nipple level, but I was at shoulder level for him. I couldn't see.
That came from his mother. If Trevor listens to this podcast,
Trevor, if you're listening, you can defend your honor.
Yeah, you can blame your mother.
So then we had the garter toss.
Yep, I flicked it directly to.
You
to
sent
Chase.
it directly to Chase, the middleman, and then 3 for 3, Sarah Elizabeth Potter.
And if you were
caught the
watching,
bouquet.
like this looked like something that should have been on ESPN. Like she was holding people back, jumping. She flew like 3 feet into the air and ahead of herself to make sure that she was the only one that caught the bouquet.
She really should teach
she
a class.
Is dead set on this happening.
Your mother is criticizing us. Never talk about the mother-in-law and drinking.
That's just because Audrey has a lot of drinking stories of her.
Oh my goodness. Well, what are you gonna do? So yeah, Sarah went for 3 for 3. The reception was fantastic. I really enjoyed DJ Kevin Green, a former guest of this.
Yeah, he did.
We had a
really
lot
good
of
job.
fun with the music.
No,
Danny was busy doing something else.
I know. I just had better things going on.
Cade Coger ended up making an appearance.
Did he make it?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I thought he did.
I don't remember him making it. No. I really don't think so.
Never mind.
We all had a driver.
It was that cardboard cutout you have of him that you probably remember.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, I had him set up. Yeah. He was guarding the bathroom with his AK.
During the wedding reception, the best man and the middleman came up to me and said, "I didn't bring anything to decorate the car," and I said, "That's okay, because the car is my car, and Sarah's driving us. We're taking them to the hotel tonight by the airport, so we're definitely not decorating my car."
Correct.
But we had a pact that night that we were going to get back together between then and the Sunday you were coming back. And on Saturday morning, we figured out that you guys were flying back and you're going to be on Saturday night, which ruined all of our plans because middleman Chase was out in the woods hunting, and you guys are going to be back by 6 o'clock. So I had to go recruiting, and Sarah and the third bridesmaid, Bailey, perhaps you've heard of her.
Yes, my sister.
Bailey Davis.
Perhaps I have.
She helped us do the decorating of the vehicle. So you had stupidly left me your car keys.
Yep.
So I returned your vehicle,
Yep.
and we got it back to you Saturday, or it was Saturday. And you got back home after dark. So I waited all day Sunday for a picture or a word or a complaint or anything, and it was just radio silence.
Yeah.
Why?
I was just too tired to deal with it. There's a 5-hour time difference right now.
Yeah, as we're recording this, it is 7:30 local time, and it's 2:30 on your laptop, so it's still on Hawaii time.
It is. That is correct. I was just too tired to deal with that. I just went outside. I had my pocket knife, popped the 50 balloons that were inside of it, drained the air out of the helium ones, and started washing the windows off.
That was it? Did you do it all on Saturday night?
No, it was Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday during the day. Yeah.
I hope you have balloons all over the car still.
No,
and you had
no.
streamers. I mean, we
threw
did you
them
up
away.
nice.
Yeah, you did.
Did you have any old Milwaukee's best from hanging from behind?
No, that would have been funny though.
Amateur.
That would have been really good. Like as the send off
Yeah.
attached to the limo. Yeah, that would have
Exactly.
been hilarious. Oh, I would have loved that. That's such a good idea.
I should have given pointers. I'm
Yep,
sorry,
you
buddy.
really should
We just didn't have time with the limo. The limo got there. We
It would
didn't
have
have time to
taken
decorate it.
40 seconds.
Well, I guess if you had shown up like you were instructed to do so. Next wedding, man. We'll do better next time. Audrey is giving me daggers from the corner. Oh man! So then we dropped you off at the airport. I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. We did talk pretty much constantly, I guess, almost as much as usual. Mostly through the wall chat. It was a 5-hour flight or a 5-hour difference.
Yeah, the flight was much longer than 5 hours.
You had.
I wish it was only.
You
5
flew like to
hours.
Phoenix, and then from Phoenix to
the
middle of nowhere.
It was a little over 4 hours to get to Phoenix, and then from Phoenix to Honolulu was 7 hours and 2 minutes. And to the people that work at the Honolulu airport, it is disgusting in there. That airport was horrible. It smelled really bad.
Little rough?
Yeah. It was like the weirdest airport I've ever been in my entire life. It's like, it's all open. Like, there's no solid exterior walls.
What happens when it rains?
It doesn't
just
really rain.
Yeah, it doesn't really rain there. It kind of just sprinkles. And it was like, it just smelled bad. Like, it's right there on a military base, and I don't know if the military base stinks,
smell.
and it just wafts in.
Soldiers.
Welcome to Hawaii. It smells here. It's like coming to Indiana and being greeted by Gary.
The Kahului airport on Maui was much better, but it was still all open. So there's something just about Honolulu, I think, that smells bad.
Interesting. Huh. Well, so
now you know, like, just go to Maui. Don't go to Honolulu.
You usually you have to go to Honolulu first, don't you?
On the way back, though, we didn't have to stop over there.
Oh, really? You just left from Maui to LA?
Maui and went to LA.
There you go. So it was a much quicker trip home then.
It was so much faster.
Did you sleep the whole way?
Not really. The Wichita State boys basketball team,
they lost the Maui Invitational while they were out there.
They did. 66-63, I believe.
Man, Dakota Davis on sports.
Yeah. That's the first time that's ever happened. No, but they did lose. They were all out on our returning flight home to L.A., and I was sitting right next to one of them, and he was like 6'5".
Was he trying to pick up your girl?
No. But we were in economy seats. Like,
6'5", and he's...
Yeah, and he, like, his upper body is freaking huge, right? So he's sitting there and, like, I'm in the middle seat. Audrey's on the window.
Middle seat all the way home.
Yeah, and he is on the outside seat. So he's obviously super uncomfortable in these economy seats, and he's got one of his legs entirely in my little section. Like, the little amount of room that I am allotted, he is taking up over half of it. And then his upper body is also exceeding his amount of space and encroaching on mine. Nap violated, for sure. And
I would have totally fought back and leaned on him. That would have been my move.
It was so annoying. And then, so I'm sitting there trying to sleep, and I can't because this dude is taking up all the room.
Completely full flight, or was the room?
It's completely full. And then, after we land, he turns over and looks at one of his friends and goes, "Man, that flight was horrible."
Imagine how it was for me.
It was bad for you? Yeah. Yeah. So that sucked. I'm trying to get all the bad things about Hawaii out first, and then I can get on to the good ones.
It would be tough being 6'5", trying to fly an economy. I've not experienced that. I bet it would be miserable.
I can only imagine. Like, I would definitely have to upgrade to first class.
It would probably feel like sitting in these chairs right now.
Jesse Riddle is...
my leg, like, out here protruding from the table and everything. Because I'm just like, all right, here we go.
I guess this is what it is.
Just balancing on the egg chairs. I love these chairs Dakota got us. They're like Art Deco.
You're welcome.
I'm very happy.
These are very
I
modern.
love the design.
It's like a postmodern design.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good.
Postmodern people don't weigh 290 pounds usually, though.
Well, you know what? These chairs, I looked at, whenever I bought them, I looked at it. They have a 360-pound weight limit.
Well,
so
that's amazing.
There you go.
You won't break them. Treat them the way you want to.
No,
I use them as a battering ram to
try.
move the floor tile down behind me.
Jeremiah used it to move the laminate floor.
You're welcome.
How does that happen? He broke the pieces that interlock it. Like, that just doesn't even sound possible.
Those were not rated for what the chairs are rated for. All right,
Correct.
so you flew out there. You had a good time. You got you spent a couple $2 on some drinks.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of money.
You came back with your body modified. You got a little tattoo.
Yeah, that was probably the most wild thing that we did. We went to a luau one night. Like, we had all these plans, extravagant plans that we were going to do.
You were going to take like a submarine trip. You had all kinds of things you were going to do.
Things we were going to go see, go snorkeling, and then once we got there, we were both so tired just from, like, everything leading up to it, and just had zero motivation to do anything except for just to lay out by the beach and drink Mai Tais and Blue Hawaiians.
There you go.
And it was the most perfect thing in the entire world.
And poor Audrey had to drink Hawaiian Sea.
Yep.
The entire time.
Why?
She's only 20.
We're celebrating her 21st birthday next month. Well, in January, I guess it's not. I guess it's still December for the next couple hours, or November here for the next couple hours.
It'll be a month from Sunday.
All right. Very exciting. Getting close. Closing in
I
on
forgot
it.
all about that.
So was it
Can't wait to buy Audrey her
a
first
dry
beer.
week for Audrey? On the beach, at least?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be on the beach for everybody. No alcohol was allowed
Okay.
on the beach.
I've not
What
been,
kind
so-
of a prison is Hawaii? No drinking on the beach?
Okay. So we always talk about California being a super liberal state.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We always forget about Hawaii. Very liberal.
I mean, it's the
state.
birthplace of President Obama, so obviously it's
Their
very liberal.
their smoking age actually is 21.
But liberal
Is it?
doesn't scream not letting you drink on a beach.
Nanny state.
That
Well, it
seems
screams authoritarian
Nazi.
government.
In Indiana, we'd be like, okay, you guys can drink on the beach. I know we have one, but
You can only do it
You
on
can-
Wednesday.
you can only do it with aluminum cans, okay? And please
Yeah.
pick them up. No glass.
Yep.
That
That's
would be the
exactly
Indiana
how
way
it
we
would
do
be.
it.
Might be
And
fun
you
with
can
that.
smoke.
Yeah, you can smoke wherever you want to. Just please, dear God, do not buy a beer on a Sunday. We do not allow that here.
You can drink it.
You
Just
can drink
don't
it.
buy
yeah,
it
you
on
just
Sunday.
can't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you buy it from one of our,
I mean, we're
our
not
local
ridiculous.
That-
distilleries.
The creator of the universe has drawn the line here. You are not allowed to buy it on a Sunday, but you can drink it. That is where the line
Unless it's
stops.
made on premise, then you can drink it.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
buy
I mean,
it.
yeah, that's totally fine.
That makes
Why
sense.
not?
You can carry that out. All right. So, is there anything else that we forgot in your big Hawaii trip? Or we?
I don't think so.
Is that it? That's pretty
Audrey
much
and I
it?
both got tattoos, and that was about it.
Yeah.
This is my fifth one, her first one.
Audrey got one that says "I love Dakota," and then yours says "Me and you" with a little heart. So that was pretty. Yep, it's a good commitment. on
It
your
was
part.
I thought it was a portrait of Daisy on my shin, is what we were going with.
Yeah.
My coworker actually, he saw that comment and he asked me on Monday, "Did you really get a portrait of your dog on your shin?" I was like, "No."
That's why Mark didn't show up, because Mark has portraits of both of his dogs on this.
You,
Does
I mean,
His parents'
honestly,
dogs.
your bride over there does do some really nice artwork of your dog pictures.
Yes,
She
she does,
totally could
yeah.
have those put on as a tattoo. If you loved your wife or your dog enough, you'd do it.
Yep, I could. Maybe if she would do it, then I would feel comfortable with it because I know how well she draws things. Anybody else I don't trust enough.
You just gotta have it photocopied a few times and then ink it on there.
Is that how it works?
I think so. I watched it happen once. They printed a thing on Danny on his chest when his was done, and they did the transfer, and then
I think
the
it's
dude just started.
I think it's a little bit more difficult with a photorealistic portrait.
We just scan. I've got the Epson scanner, and we zip it in, and
I was
and we'll
super
print it,
impressed
and
by
we'll stick
the.
it.
I was super impressed by the tattoo artist. Like he free-handed some of it. Like didn't even put it on the little stencil that they put
Yeah.
on me first.
I haven't seen it yet. I
decided to go with what
you're
His
not
best.
you're not showing your ankles off.
it's
so.
it's like a hook, a Hawaiian hook, like a classic fishing hook that has tribal designs on the inside. Rope.
What was the language down there, by the way?
Actually, like half of the commercials down there were actually in traditional Hawaiian. So apparently, a lot of people still actually talk it, which I was very surprised about.
I looked. There were maybe 20,000 people that actually spoke the language down there.
These places must only cater to them. There was like a donut shop that the commercial was in all Hawaiian and had English subtitles.
Speak American.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Is
Speak
Hawaiian
American or
the
get out.
language, or is it like Samoan?
It's like a Polynesian
whatever the
culture.
indigenous folk are. I don't know.
It's a Polynesian culture.
Someday
Heavily.
we'll get Jesse we'll take him out on a boat and we'll get him to Hawaii somehow.
Yeah.
Your ancestors got here on a boat. We'll get you the Vikings. We'll get you on a Viking craft from the West Coast and get you to Hawaii. Y'all will have to row, but we'll get you there.
I'm not even from there.
Jesse, you're European. Those the Nordics came over on the Viking boats.
No, I'm not Nordic at all.
You're
I've done the DNA.
the forgotten Viking.
I changed my name today, actually.
What are you?
Just Jesse S. Riddle.
Really?
Yep.
Opposed to...
Man, it's Jesse S.
Forgotten
Riddle,
Viking.
Dakota S. Davis.
Yep.
What is this about? Anyway,
I'm not Dakota S. Davis on Facebook.
no, but you're Dakota S. Davis.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
Anyway,
Hey, Dakota, what's your social security number?
it starts with
It's,
a 3.
Yeah,
Okay, it's probably
312.
317.
yeah.
And then it's 69.
Okay.
The last 4 I can't use, but any
Yeah.
PIN number he uses probably will tell you. Anyway, so we have some real content planned. We have Jesse here.
Yeah, we do.
He is a Jesse
As
Riddle.
As slow as the beginning of this episode has been, we have actual.
We have a lot
information.
to get through.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so we apologize for making you
And,
listen to
I
24
think-
minutes of Dakota's
See
wedding.
this second bullet point here.
Danny Morrell at the Sports Desk will be covering the Greg Schiano story for us.
Yeah,
Net neutrality is first, and
this-
then we're going to cover the Indiana smoking age.
And then the Greg Schiano.
Yes.
That was you got me to research sports.
I know. I got you into it.
I thought about that whenever I was like researching it and looking it up. I'm like, oh man,
Did you enjoy yourself?
I didn't at all.
You should have came to the support group. I would have helped.
So
Guys,
you are
who
listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. Jeremiah Morrell, Dakota Davis, Danny Morrell on the Sports Desk, and Jesse Riddle is our IT consultant for the show. He works for one of the biggest tech companies in the state of Indiana. They're an international company, but he works in. Can we say that you work in the tallest building in the state of Indiana?
That should be okay.
Dakota is holding up for the camera right now. Is it the Maui Times, by the way?
Yes,
Maui
the Maui
News.
News.
The Maui News.
I had to bring it back because I got the newspaper
It
here.
looks very similar to the Courier Times.
It does look like the Courier Times
it
type
looks
setting.
just
The
like
layout
it.
and everything. Like no, compared to the one up there, it's
Yeah.
almost the same.
It's very
Yeah,
close.
It is.
Or do they have a local appliance shop selling an Amana for $477?
That's Hawaii. They're not going to sell it for
No, but
$477.
their main story right here is West Maui steps up to continue a tradition, and they're talking about the Hard Rock Cafe being closed. So I don't know how much of a tradition Hard Rock.
Their
Cafe
economy's
is
struggling as well, apparently.
I guess.
All right, so Jesse,
Yep.
we've seen the last couple weeks this net neutrality thing has been all over the news. The Trump administration has Donald Trump got to appoint a new chairman of the FCC, and he replaced the Obama appointee. In 2015, there's something called net neutrality, some new rules that were adopted, like in June of 2015. And the new chairman has said they want to roll those rules back at their next official meeting, December of
Which is
2017.
December.
So next month.
Yeah, December 14th, right?
So
Pretty much 2 weeks from now.
right. So what happens here? The guy's name is Ajit Pai. Is that right?
I wasn't going to
I-
butcher
I
it. I'm
think
sure
so.
it's a G. I would not know about the last name.
Pai. So Pai. I don't know.
Pie.
Hey.
Wife of Pie. Is he the one that was on the boat with that lion?
I would assume.
Wife of Pie. Okay.
So basically, net neutrality this is a super complicated issue, and trying to dig into this and be educational in any way has been a real this has felt like studying for that test that I never wanted to have to study for to understand this, Dakota.
I know.
So I'm very thankful we have Jesse here.
Well, the thing with all this is like I've been really trying to educate myself on this, but it seems like every news source that I typically go to has just been hardcore. Either it's either a libertarian site that is just wanting deregulation just for the sake of it being deregulation and not really having much to say else about it, or it's a left-wing site which is just totally freaking out because of they're terrified that we're going to have to bundle our internet packages.
So that's the best example of the pro net neutrality side that I've seen. And there's if you just want to look along like for an infographic, right on the net neutrality entry on Wikipedia as of this time, there's something called SmartNet. Somebody grabbed a screen grab of what their proposed pricing was. And these guys are saying basically without net neutrality, you could potentially get a la carte pricing as a consumer. So you would pay maybe $5 a month to be able to access Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, Instagram. You'd have to pay an additional fee to be able to access Netflix or YouTube or Periscope, and then maybe another $5 to have something like Google Chat or Skype, or maybe you'd have to pay another $5 or $10 to have email access or to be able to download your music or something like that.
Yeah.
So they're acting like you would potentially have, like, as a consumer, your internet would be tiered, and you would have these different limitations placed upon your network. Is that accurate, Jesse? As to one side of the argument?
I don't know if it's an argument. I think it's just what people fear, and I think that's why it's so hard for people to do the research, because most of it is all speculation. Here's the problem, right? This stuff got enacted in 2015. Prior to 2015, we lived in the world that we're possibly going to go back to,
Right?
And this wasn't the case. So,
yeah, but we're seeing it now though in countries that don't have net neutrality.
yeah, but so there's maybe 2 countries that don't have net neutrality. So that graphic they pulled was not an English graphic. Where was
No,
it
it
from?
was.
Do you know?
I don't know. It
I was
was
trying to. So
the
I
units
looked up-
are not American dollars. I think it was some sort of a European. It's MES. So what's MES? It's
I have no idea.
yeah.
But so I mean, the big thing that I think, I think that like most people are just speculating on like the possibilities. I've talked to one of my friends who worked at an internet backbone or an ISP, whatever, for a very long time, and kind of was like, "What do you think?" And he's also freaking out. I'm like, "We literally lived this way, guys. Like, not even hardly 2 years ago, and there wasn't this problem. No one was freaking out." There has been situations, right, in the past where ISPs, or not, yeah, I guess ISPs were flexing their property, is the way I would like to say it.
So in 2014, there is an example that you and I talked about offline as we were trying to do the show prep for this, talking about Netflix at one time was consuming like consuming like 50% of the bandwidth of Comcast.
Yeah, I didn't look at the amount of bandwidth that
Right.
Comcast was, that Netflix was using. But,
So Comcast made the decision that they were going to throttle Netflix traffic.
well, they already were.
Right, and users are starting to get have an experience issue, and this is 2014. So what wound up happening was Netflix was approached by Comcast and they said, "Hey, we're throttling your people. We need to charge you more money because you're costing us more to run our network. We're charging our people $40 or $50 a month for an open pipe to the internet. They're consuming your product for $10 a month or $8 a month or whatever their price was, and yet you're serving your crap or pushing your crap through our highways is absolutely crushing our network."
Yep.
And they said, and finally, and Netflix was like, basically they got into the standoff. Netflix says it's your job, and ultimately, I think there was some sort of financial agreement put in place where Netflix got charged additional money to be bumped up the ladder to be served. Netflix then passes those charges on to the consumers. That's why you see your Netflix bill goes up a little bit every so often.
Netflix just
so it went up $1 or $2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with that, but it did just go up.
Right, but they are receiving additional costs. So in what you would say the libertarian or the open side, that's the way that model should work.
Right.
If you're consuming media, then you're going to pay for the media, and the companies that are using it more are going to pay for prioritized access.
Yeah, I mean, both people on the end of the spectrum are going to pay for this, right? So Netflix being a delivery service, or they're curating content, they're going to pay to get access to get that to their customers at a premium, at an optimal viewing delivery speed, right? Because that's how their business is going to survive. If you didn't do that, then people would say, "Well, Netflix is crap because it's not getting through the servers fast enough."
Would that eventually end up hurting smaller startup websites?
So
say you have like a Vimeo versus Vimeo.
So say
Vimeo,
Dakota Davis
whatever.
wants to start a video streaming service.
Yeah.
So this is the other problem I have is a lot of people don't understand how a lot of this stuff works. To this day, the things we're talking about actually still go on. So I shared a thing with you guys earlier where if you're to sign up for GoDaddy and you end up becoming a prominent source of their bandwidth usage, they are going to charge you more money so that they can pump you up in their tiers and put you on like a private server.
If I sign up for GoDaddy, it's not just $10 a month.
No, it's $10, and that says unlimited bandwidth. But then you click on the little tooltip, and it says if you end up using a lot of bandwidth, we will contact you and try to get you to upgrade to a different plan.
Because you are violating your hosting agreement, basically. With them.
You're going to violate the hosting agreement. You're going to also end up probably either they're going to they're going to throttle you, or you upgrade to one of their virtual private
GoDaddy
servers.
is not an internet service provider.
Right, but GoDaddy has, so you have to think of the way this stuff works, right? GoDaddy has servers in multiple server locations, right?
Yeah, I'd have zero idea of how
right,
this
so
stuff
that's
works.
why this is a problem for people.
Right, and as a trying to understand as a consumer, it's difficult.
Right.
But you have somebody that you trust, a media member saying, hey, we want to keep the internet free, go sign this form, so people weigh in with the FCC. So 50 million people said to the FCC, we want net neutrality because we want the internet to be open.
Right. But arguably the internet is open and has been. But I guess what I'm getting at, so GoDaddy instance, right, has servers that sit in different states, and they pay those server locations, and those locations it's probably their hardware, but it's not like their building. So that's typically managed from like I don't forget what you want to call them, but there's one up in Indianapolis that we used to use.
Just data centers.
Yeah, just data centers. So they will typically do deals with ISPs. So,
Okay.
and they typically have 2 to 3 or 4 different ISPs that they will do deals with because they need redundancy in the networks. So in case something goes down, they have a failover.
Okay.
So typically, like, you'll have different. Sorry, I should probably get closer. Different ISPs coming into the same data center. One's the primary, and the other is the secondary. So that way, when they're doing network work, they can switch over back and forth. So the big thing here is they're negotiating for a ton of clients, so they have a lot more leverage to do negotiations when it comes to bandwidth and purchasing bandwidth. The second side of that is Netflix. Up in 2015, my friend who I was talking to, Netflix was putting servers like inside these ISPs data centers, so that way they would have, and you can think of these like CDNs, like content delivery networks, the same way. So CDNs work where, like, if Boss Hogs did erupt, guys would go through Cloudflare or something, and you would host your content there because it's closer to the consumers than your guys.
It doesn't have to go all the way across the internet.
Wherever your guys'
you have a
servers
depot
are.
that's somewhere closer and faster to reach.
Exactly, and it's just cached there.
Right.
So, and it pulls it from the cache and it downloads it. So Netflix was putting these things inside of data centers, so there was only 1 or 2 hops,
Right.
and then you would be pulling from the cache.
Okay.
So that's Netflix, and has already solved these problems, right? Like they're working with the ISPs to make these things happen.
The other thing that I've seen libertarians make an argument on is that if we keep these net neutrality rules that were passed under the Obama administration, we are basically hamstringing ourselves to the internet that we have now. We're locking ourselves into where we're regulated and development won't happen or will be slowed down. Do you think that's a reasonable argument or not?
I don't know. I don't think so. To me, the rules don't prevent. They don't really prevent people from moving into the infrastructure. Like, I don't understand that argument.
Seeing that, but I've seen it the opposite way. That actually repealing net neutrality would stifle competition, which was what. After I read that, was what got me thinking more and got me more on the fence about it. Because I'm a firm believer in the free market.
We're always fearful that the established companies are going to create barriers to entry to protect the market for themselves.
Correct.
Right. I think that's true for both things, right? So not only is it expensive, I mean, the government is already handing out money. Jeremiah knows this. He has a government-assisted internet to help ISPs get their services to the consumers, in this particular instance, fiber. The fiber is really expensive to lay. So my friend was saying that when they were going to lay fiber, the quotes were, I think he said it was anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 a mile to lay fiber.
Yeah, about $25,000 a mile is what it costs to lay actual fiber optic.
Yeah.
To get a line to different residences.
Yeah,
which we had that conversation this week on Citizens of Henry County.
Yeah, this is that's one of the reasons why we want to talk about this. Is this, in our area in Henry County, Indiana, a community, it's 400 square miles and about 50,000 people, 48,000 if you don't count the prisoners that are vacationing here in the northern part of Newcastle. And I don't know what kind of internet they have, but there's probably 5,000 or 7,000 people that are in a rural area that don't have great access to internet. They don't have the ability to get Comcast. They don't have the ability to get Metronet, which is our fiber provider. They may or may not be able to get DSL from somebody like Frontier, and then there are some areas that are rural that are served by 9Star, which is a fiber company.
Oh, they're fiber.
And then there's a couple of rural Wi-Fi options, WISP and Lisbon Broadband Company.
Yeah.
And then there's just areas that are totally unserved. So, like where you used to live, Danny.
Well,
Yeah.
he's going to talk about this.
You had
Yeah,
no connection back in the day where it's your previous home.
Yeah, at my old house, I had no connection to internet, so I just used my Verizon phone as a mobile hotspot and used a bunch of data. And now you had options for HughesNet, and if you had a line of sight to the WISP tower, you could do that, which we did not have at the home. Now I live a little closer to Newcastle, and I have access to Comcast, which is better by far. But Metronet may be a better option for me. And every time I've contacted Metronet,
They stop 2 houses to your north.
and I can pay to have them bring it to me, but like you guys were alluding to, it's very costly, and it doesn't make sense.
What kind of quote did they throw you? I'm just curious.
I think it was several $1,000s.
Yeah.
I think
It's
maybe
probably
like 20
700 feet or so to the next house from your place.
it's more than that.
So I guess
I'm 0.3 of a mile from the next county road, so
and there's a
0.2
school
of
there,
a
so I'm
mile,
sure they
yeah.
serve the school.
Yeah.
So a little over a
got
quarter
paid,
of a mile.
They probably got paid to lay to
So
the school.
would net neutrality regulations that we're talking about the internet? How would that have any effect at all at any kind of a startup company like Metronet who's trying to lay fiber in these small urban areas? Would that have any effect on them? Would it make it harder, easier for them to start up?
I don't think so. It depends. Like if they're going to offer better, so if they offered better packages, then let's say it went to the package model. That's sort of like your cell phone. It used to be like your cell phone. The cell phone service has kind of gone away with that.
Well, but cable television has that,
Cable
where you have
does
different
it.
tiers of things that are available.
And a lot of that's hidden, right? Like I just learned this year. Remember that we apparently pay for ESPN, and
ESPN is a massive part of most of your cable package.
It's like 70% of your bill.
Yeah,
it's huge, and that's ridiculous.
but because there have been so many cable cutters, ESPN continues to lay people out. We'll get into that with sports with Danny Morrell here in a few minutes.
So I don't think that it's going to hurt any ISPs that want to get up and started. I think that local regulations affect them more than anything else, right? Like, I mean, you work for a power company. Granted, like they're really close to the government, but it's a pain in the ass for them to like lay.
Yeah,
lay lines.
It's a huge cost.
Yeah.
Well, and that's we do have like a particularly with cable, the old school copper and cable. You have a cable company.
Right.
You typically don't have 3 or 4 because at some point the powers that be in government decided that we were going to have government-regulated monopolies because it didn't make sense to have parallel networks.
Right.
So the reason I have fiber is because we said, okay, we're going to install a fiber network in this community. So we have, to my home, I could get copper DSL, which is terrible for user internet at this point. It's a very old technology. I could have cable television, or cable internet from Comcast, but it's not as desirable as having true fiber to the premises, which I have.
Yep.
And then some communities, I guess I technically could go out and use a 4G connection through Verizon or AT&T, or I could get a satellite connection.
Yep.
So I have 5 or 6 different options, but it's not like I can choose. Other than with satellite, I really can't choose. I can't say I want to have AT&T or Verizon or Frontier for my home connection.
We don't, but like the Metropolitan Indianapolis does.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, they had like what is it, blue something, and it's changed.
Star.
Huh?
Is it Star?
I'm not sure. But there was some cable company that they had. I swear it was blue something. But anyway, they have Comcast, they have AT&T. I think. What else? Did Google roll something out there recently?
I'm not sure if
somebody's
Google's in
rolling
Indianapolis.
something. Somebody's rolling something, but
But you'll see, like, in some areas you'll have Time Warner, or some areas you'll have Charter Communications,
Yep.
or Comcast. But basically, you have these cable companies will just trade areas, and I think that's another thing that people are worried about or concerned with net neutrality, is that if we don't have net neutrality, these guys are going to carve up and say, well, we're just not going to serve your area anymore, and you're only going to have one connection to the internet, and then without the government regulating it, they can just say, well, in your town, if you want to get access to email and to streaming video, then it's going to be we're just not going to offer it, or we're going to charge you an exorbitant rate, and you have no market.
right.
That's the fear I think people have.
Well, I think I don't know. I don't understand that argument about the ISPs getting limited. I don't understand that at all.
Well, I mean,
we had this until 2015, and it wasn't a problem.
Whenever I was researching this, I found a pretty good unbiased article, and basically they were talking about looking at areas that don't have net neutrality or are developing countries that internet is a new thing, so there's no regulation to it. What does that look like? So this guy was talking about Kenya, actually. Yeah. So internet in Kenya is actually a pretty relatively new concept for them.
Yep.
And a lot of times in developing worlds, people equate the internet with getting on Facebook, which, I mean, we all know that's not, yeah. It's not the right way to go about it, but that's kind of a different thing. But so he says in the emerging economies of the world, that's pretty much already how things work, is this package system that we were talking about. So like Facebook, he says in Kenya, the four most popular websites are Google, Facebook, YouTube, and this Kenyan version of Google. And
it's called a web crawler.
And basically, Facebook and Google has come out with YouTube Free Zone, Google Free Zone, and then Facebook came out with Facebook Zero. So basically, it's like the free version, and it's like an HTML. It's a read only copy.
Yep.
So you can get on your Facebook and
they could read what Boss Hog Liberty said, but you can't actually participate.
You can't see.
There are lurkers out there.
Well, you probably wouldn't even be able to download the audio.
Yeah, you couldn't get the audio. There's a very limited amount of pictures, so they wouldn't even see like the profile pictures or anything. You have to upgrade your plan. It's $8.99 American dollars to upgrade your plan for a month.
So I have a question. Who runs that network? I'm guessing if it's Kenya, it's probably a government and or like some kind of weird cartel. 2, you have to think about they don't have broadband. Like I'm guaranteed that's probably not a broadband connection, and it's just so think about your
they're doing the best they can to deliver some sort of network out there.
Yeah, so think about like inside of your house.
Think about living in 1997 with dial-up internet.
No, just think about living in your house, right? Most people don't have enough bandwidth to run 5 or 6 Netflix accounts, depending on their router. Like especially back in the day.
Absolutely.
So what you would set up is what they're talking about, which is quality of service lines. You would use what they call quality of service, QoS, to throttle people so that they can't saturate the network and become hogs of the tube. So in this area where there's not a lot of bandwidth, that's how they limit that. They're like, look, if you want it, you can get it, but we're not going to let you like create an issue for everyone on the network.
Which is what would happen back in the day with cable internet.
That would happen at Finish Line when I worked there.
Yeah.
Right? They would be
why do we need to repeal that if we don't have that issue?
Well, you're making the decision to let the government make those regulations instead of letting the industry do that for themselves. Instead of letting the ISPs work it out with financial arrangements and then passing the costs on to customers as needed.
Right, and that's pretty much the standard argument whenever we talk about anything with government regulations, right? We say you either want this group of men in suits in a boardroom making the decisions, or you want this group of men in suits in a boardroom making the decisions.
Do you want the unelected central planners, or do you want the people that are trying to make a dollar off of it?
Well, I was going to say, I think you should look at it, who's holding guns to your head and who are you associating with voluntarily. That is how you should look at it. Like, in order for that neutrality to exist, we have to elect a government. We have to defend it with guns. Or you can have Comcast come over and you can be like, actually, I don't want it. And then there's no violence.
So basically what happens is either, well, you can do it or we turn your internet off, or we can do it and we can kill you.
Right. And I'm going to turn my internet off. I'm going to turn my internet off. I think everyone here is going to turn their internet off in that situation. But they're not going to do that because they want your money. Right. So the other problem...
just to
go ahead.
Show you that this is not just totally biased towards net neutrality, but they actually talked to a tech startup guy down there in Kenya. Trying to find his name here. His name Eric Hersman. He founded a provider called iHub, so it's like a Wi-Fi service. And they asked him if is this a problem here? Do people see this as an issue? And he said, no, not at all. No one cares. Right. Like they just expect it. That
is their second nature to them, and that's to us. That's why this is the problem I have with this, is because we pay a premium for everything we do in our lives. But when it comes to the internet, everyone freaks out.
I pay my money. I already pay my $55 a month. It's all free after that.
Right. But it's like, if you want the, if you want more, if you're going to use more power, you pay for more power. You want to use more water, you're going to pay for more water.
Here's the thing. I get my free 15 gigabytes of Google Drive storage.
Yep.
Today I made the decision I was going to pay $2 a month to go to 100 gigabytes of Google Drive storage, and I cringed. I was like, "Oh God,
People
Google's
don't
free."
even want to buy mobile apps for $2.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I know. I just signed up for $24 a year to have 100 gigabytes of whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. It's incredible technology. All of my stuff replicates everywhere. I finally filled it up, and I was like, the hell with it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I don't know, the net neutrality stuff, I've talked to guys at work, and I mean, a lot of people are... That was the second argument I hear a lot is, well, people are going to be pigeonholed into one service. I'm like, there is very, 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 very few places in the United States you're pigeonholed to one ISP.
My parents' house.
They are not.
Well, okay, they could go Metronet, or they could go HughesNet or Exceed, I guess.
What are they? And what else?
And they have Frontier now.
They have Frontier.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure they use a phone.
Yeah, your telephone. You could get a jetpack.
So
now.
right there, they have access to three internet,
four
different forms of
versions.
internet. Even though, like, I can't get to the internet, I'm like, no, you can. You just don't want to either pay for it, or you're going to deal with some.
And we all make the
process.
decision, depending upon where you live. When I made this comment on the citizens of Henry County, I legitimately, when I purchased my home, I looked to see what options I had. Just like if you're a buyer that's paying attention, you look to see who's my utility going to be for electricity.
Yep.
What's the water situation? What's the sewer situation? Turns out I had more sewer problems than I thought I did. But you look at those things and you figure out who do I have a local telephone company that's going to give me decent internet?
Yep. Yeah.
It's a very real consideration.
And if your job relies on it, right, don't put your job there. Like, it's a very simple concept. It doesn't even matter what you do. To live in rural anywhere, you better have money. It's more expensive to live rural.
And honestly, if you buy a house in a place that has really good internet, your value is probably going to go up because it's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you not only are you getting land, but it's just so expensive. You have to drive farther to go places. You have to have equipment to take care of things. Like, it is way more expensive to live outside in the rural, not like in a city or a little town, but in a rural area where you don't typically have access to like many things.
It's a luxury of being the only house on your county road.
This is making me feel really fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you live in the middle of nowhere and you have Comcast. Congratulations.
And you can get pizza delivered to your place, which is
not
amazing.
Chinese food anymore, though.
We don't need to go into that. I may or not have a lawsuit coming.
So you're listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty. This is Dakota Davis, and of course with Jeremiah Morrell, we have Danny Morrell on the sports desk.
Hello.
And Jesse Riddle, our tech expert, and we're talking about net neutrality at the current time.
Let's move on. I think we've flogged this one to death as much as we can. I don't know. Is there anything else on net neutrality?
I'm just saying that a good segue to talk about hidden costs is to kind of bring this up because there's probably a ton of people who don't understand the whole like ESPN cable thing, and so they can know like A, this is happening, and B, they can go look in it and see it on their bill.
Yeah, so if you subscribe to basic cable of some sort, ESPN is typically on the lowest tier of your basic cable. And ESPN is probably 30 to 40% of the cost of your cable. I don't know the number, but it's usually like $8 or $10.
It's 68%.
Is that Danny? Yeah. Danny on the sports desk says
you can
68%.
So it really
are you
is
being
that much
sarcastic
more.
or?
Am I?
I think he is.
It is a massive number. But what's happened is ESPN, they let off 150 people today. There have been an incredible number of cord cutters where people have said, I'm just not paying for this anymore.
Yeah.
And they've gone away, and the market has caused them to make these cuts.
But
they're paying billions of dollars a year in licenses to these leagues, the NFL, to NASCAR, to the NBA, to be able to broadcast. And they're like, we'll just raise the price again.
So
on your cable bill. And people like Jesse, who don't watch sports, pay for sports for everybody else. Until people quit watching and cutting the cord, and then the revenue goes away.
This is actually going to let me bring up one more point because this actually just came to my brain. When this happens, when all the sport watchers, because there's a bajillion of them, stop and they cut their cords, right?
Yep.
They're going to start laying copper and fiber to the houses so they can get the things back to get those products back to the consumers. They're just be like, well, all right. We will just make sure that you get it some other fashion, and they will make sure that it gets there. Because otherwise, they're not going to just let themselves go.
5 years ago, I thought I would be the guy that would never. I was absolutely always going to have a cable connection. Like I was going to have cable TV. I turned in my cable boxes, and I'm a pretty happy YouTube TV customer now. And then a little bit of Roku from Dakota. But
Hulu.
Yeah, Hulu. I'm sorry. I watched the Hulu,
Hulu
on my
on the
Roku.
Roku.
Yes. It's very complicated. I don't know how it works.
My Roku doesn't even have like the good Hulu on it.
No, it doesn't.
Like it's like the old one. Like the Hulu that I subscribe to now is a $35 a month one, where you can watch live television as it's happening. Basically,
That's how much you pay for it?
Yeah, it's $35 a month. I mean, we watch.
Is there any reason you choose that over the YouTube TV?
Because the YouTube TV you have to.
If we share our passwords, we both get more channels.
Yeah. But
because they don't all offer, they're all a la carte. It's the net neutrality nightmare where some things are offered on Hulu and some things are on Hulu and some things are offered on YouTube TV, and then Sling has even different channels.
And the YouTube TV is kind of screwed up with the soundboard that I have on the TV downstairs. Like there's a wall between the voices and the mouths, and it won't match up. It'll match up if I take the soundboard off the TV, because you have to
Soundboard or soundbar?
His soundbar.
the sound
Okay,
bar.
soundbar.
Yeah, sorry.
He has a technical issue that has nothing to do with YouTube. I think it's the Chromecast he uses.
Yeah,
turn
but if you have a
put your stuff
soundbar-
on game mode, see if that fixes it.
That's a good idea.
So we'll try that after.
But yeah, anyway.
Okay.
That just made me think of that. So
on
to Danny.
Sunday afternoon, we started planning Boss Hog of Liberty number 31. At least I did in my mind. I may have not shared it with everybody else at the time.
I think you did with us.
But on Sunday, we started planning Boss Hog of Liberty 31, and I was watching football, as I do. Sarah Potter and I were enjoying the Sunday afternoon. The Colts were losing another game, and we kept seeing these headlines
That's
about...
not entirely true.
Towards the end, the Colts lost
They
that game.
won the first 3 quarters.
It's true. By the way, Chuck Pagano has gone absolutely crazy. Colts head
Hurricanes.
coach. He his press conference after the loss turned into a 3-minute dissertation on Dakota's getting text from his wife. It's about a puppy. Yeah, you're getting a dog. Merry Christmas.
I'm not getting
It's gone down. In the time we've started this show, she's tagged him on Facebook and then shown us pictures from the corner. You're getting a healer. Congratulations, Dakota. You're going to be a daddy. All right. Anyway, the Colts head coach. Groundhog Day and hurricanes. He became a weatherman. So look that one up on the YouTube. Anyway, Sunday afternoon, during the football games, we see that the Tennessee Volunteers are going to hire a guy named Greg Schiano as their head coach. By sundown, they had withdrawn their offer. Danny, what in the hell happened?
So, the Volunteers, University of Tennessee, they have a rookie athletic director that had no idea the shitstorm that was going to be flowing down to him.
So, Greg Schiano was a guy that had been a head coach, and he made my radar when he was at Rutgers, a school in New Jersey that's now in the Big Ten.
Do you remember what their record was?
They were terrible before he got there, and then they were terrible for about the first 4 or 5 years he was there. He was pretty good towards the end to get to about a 500 record at his time
68 and 67 is his record as the head coach of Rutgers.
So he was at Rutgers just barely over 500. 500 is a winning percentage, Jesse, for those of you keeping track at home. He got hired by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
which he was below 500 for.
He was terrible in Tampa Bay as a pro
like
football coach.
Like 7 and 17 or 7.
Yeah, it was rough.
Bad.
He was very well disrespected. I think there was it's kind of a gentleman's game when you're taking a kneel down at the end of a game. The game is over, and he would instruct his players to jump over the line and try to cause a fumble when the game was over, basically.
He even spoke that the player's job was to enact as much mayhem on the field as humanly possible in order to keep the game competitive. It didn't matter. Every play matters.
So that's a little bit of history on Greg Schiano. And then in the last couple of years, he's been back at the Ohio State University as a defensive coordinator?
Defensive coordinator for Urban Meyer.
All right.
Which they've been
like a national powerhouse, top 5, top 10 team every year.
Not top 1.
Very good.
So the Ohio State continues to be shitty.
And we're still painting the picture for those of you that are starting from absolute scratch here. So there are like 4 major power conferences, Jesse and Dakota. Conferences are like a group of schools. So
who are we talking about?
The University of Tennessee.
So
the Southeastern Conference is
SEC.
The SEC.
I've seen that graphic before.
Yes, so the SEC is where Alabama and Tennessee and Kentucky and Florida and all these huge schools that are traditional absolute power schools are at. And they are the like the King Kong of football.
Power
Now-
schools means they have good winning.
Very
records.
good. All right,
Very
so they
good
expect to win
boosters and
9 to 10 games a year.
Boosters?
Georgia boosters.
What is a booster? Booster.
Somebody gives money.
It's like a booster shot
Yeah.
before you go on vacation.
Who gives these people money?
very
Alumni.
arrogant alumni.
Usually guys in white polo shirts with
What are they
second
paying
wives.
the money for? Just to bring the kids in?
Just to pay
Is
for the
there no-
program. Just
Okay.
to pay the money to the coaches to make the program successful.
If it's at Louisville, it's for hookers and drugs and strippers.
Louisville's in the Big East.
That's what volunteers, right?
Yeah, so the University of Tennessee Volunteers. So
Got
Greg
it.
Schiano was they fired their was it Butch Jones, Butch Davis, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Tennessee was really good 20 years ago. Peyton Manning played at Tennessee.
Yeah, I know.
But
And then
they did
right
not
after he
win the
left,
championship
he left, they won the championship with a guy named T. Martin at quarterback.
Yes,
That was 1999 or so.
correct.
And since that time, they fired Phil Fulmer, the head coach, and they've had Lane Kiffin came in and out, and they've had 2 or 3 guys come along. So they fired their coach, and Sunday we see that Greg Schiano is going to be hired. And then what happened?
Well, as it was, I guess, well described, he's a below-average talent at coaching, both in college and in the NFL. He was ran off completely.
So people are like, he's not very good at coaching. That's strike one.
He's not very good at all. Well, I mean, yeah, he's a solid coach, but the University of Tennessee was extremely excited about John Gruden, which also adds another layer to this. They think that they're going to get a top 5 NFL coach going to come to the University of Tennessee, and that also draws in the thought of, okay, John Gruden, and then there's the Peyton Manning ties, which also just gives a ginormous erection for Tennessee.
It goes back to the superiority complex of every SEC schools thinking they are the shit.
Yeah, instead they get a coach that is easily, but 30% talent, maybe. And then what it runs into is, in 2009-ish?
Yeah, it was the Jerry Sandusky scandal.
Yeah, so he spent like 10 or 15 years on staff as a low-level staffer under Joe Paterno at Pennsylvania, Penn State.
Here's the thing that got me about this, was whenever I was actually researching this, like, I'd
So
seen
damn proud we got Dakota on sports.
I literally just learned in my brain that Penn State meant Pennsylvania State. 31
Happy
years
Valley,
old.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, sorry. Continue.
So I'm looking all this up, and I had seen that there was like 150 people that turned out to protest them hiring this Schiano guy.
Yeah.
Who sounds like an Italian mob boss.
They painted a rock. They ran to the stadium and they protested and basically lit Knoxville on fire, saying "Hell to the no."
And it was crazy, and it was like one of the only times in recent history that the protest has actually accomplished something immediately.
And that's why we're talking about this.
Yeah,
it's like, holy hell, this turned around in no time.
Crazy. Like, he was, they immediately withdrew the contract and were like, all right, you know what? Our fans don't want him, then they're not going to get him. Like, the free market in action, baby.
Well, and the
athletic director, the guy that's supposed to make the decision, had sent the memorandum of understanding. This is like a $7 million a year job. This is not
it's not a little
small
thing.
potatoes.
It's not like he just they just fired someone. No, but then he gets fired because of this Jerry Sandusky scandal, and basically, you kept seeing the fans that were protesting calling him a rape enabler, and I'm like, what the heck is that about? And I guess that
it's a bad month to be a rape enabler.
Yeah. And I guess that somebody testified on the stand during the Sandusky scandal that they saw Greg Schiano, that Greg Schiano had told them, I saw Jerry in the shower with a young boy in the locker room, and I didn't know what it was doing, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So basically, he saw Sandusky in the shower with a young boy and did not report it, didn't think to tell anybody about it. That is definitely, in my mind, the definition of rape enabler.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that they were exaggerating on that point.
And then went back and denied that was his stance in the matter, too.
And it's not a question of whether or not it happened. Jerry Sandusky is in prison now. He was convicted. That's not a...
The tribe has spoken.
Yeah. So so Greg Schiano is still at Ohio State, and he'll be they've got the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis on Saturday.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that anybody's even touching the guy
when his
anymore.
contract comes back up. It might be a different situation.
It could be,
as long as you can win. So we'll see.
I
And
agree
That's
with
all
that.
that matters to these Neanderthals.
so
I know,
I don't know if they
again,
got
it's
the
a new
roof
thing for
closed
me.
on Lucas Oil.
I just called
but,
you guys
It was.
Neanderthals, and you didn't even.
I drove by
flinch.
yesterday. Closed.
They got the roof closed. So Sunday is the Big Ten championship game between the Ohio State University and the University of Wisconsin.
Does it take days to open?
No, they had a
just
problem.
closed.
The Colts played there Sunday,
And it wouldn't shut.
and it wouldn't shut. One side didn't shut.
Brilliant.
It looked shut, I guess, when I was at your office on Tuesday or Wednesday. We looked out,
No
and
idea.
I think it was closed.
At least no bolts fell and hit
That's
any
true.
fans.
Nobody got
So-
hit.
Those bolts would have been huge bolts.
They
That
had a guy
happened.
that got, or somebody got injured at a
Holy
preseason
ouch.
game against the Bengals about 3 or 4
How big are
years
these
ago.
bolts?
They were.
Do you sell the bolts to them?
Yeah, no, no, that's fascinating.
I'm just saying, for those
Brandon-
who haven't been to Lucas Oil, man,
Fastenal
that place
complaints
is like
to
an
Brandon
architecture
Connor,
miracle.
Fastenal, Newcastle, Indiana 47362.
So,
What's
how
up,
big are
Brandon?
these bolts? Curious. Like,
You would
I
have
haven't
checked
been
the
up there,
reports.
but I would imagine they're like M8 by 12.
I was like baby arm bolts.
No,
They're
No,
probably inch and a half. Oh
Hey,
man!
I actually worked with a lot of people that had the opportunity to work on that project as electricians.
Well, that was Wall Sports with Danny Morrell. Congratulations, Danny, on your first sportscast on the Boss Hog.
Let's do something that's more fun. That
Oh,
wasn't sports related. That
Elizabeth Potter said that they got the roof shut on Monday.
They did get it shut on Monday. All
So
right,
there we go.
Thank you, Libby, for the report from the city.
Something more fun.
Third topic:
Yep, this is the fun one.
Is this the fun one?
21,
This is the fun one.
21 years
None
old
of
to
us smoke
smoke in
cigarettes.
Indiana.
Yeah, and that was the
Typically.
thing whenever we were down in Hawaii.
You teased that, saying Hawaii is a nanny state. You have to be
Yeah, it
21 to
is.
buy cigarettes down there.
You do. That's
You're
correct. Like
barely old enough to buy
everywhere
cigarettes.
you go, they have signs that either say no smoking or be prepared to show ID, under 21, no tobacco.
I'm pretty sure that's how it is around here.
Not for tobacco. Tobacco's 18.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yep. So I'm like, holy cow! So I asked a gas station clerk. I'm like, you have to be 21 to buy tobacco here. And he's like, yeah, you have to be 21 to buy it. But
Is that recent, or do you know?
yeah, it actually got enacted in February of 2017. So very recent.
So they just had that go down.
Yeah, that just happened.
So did you get grandfathered in if you were already 18?
See, that's what I don't know, and that was one of the things.
I
Whenever
guarantee you didn't.
whenever-
I wonder
the-
about your bride. I wonder if she could have bought cigarettes because she had been 18 when the rule passed, and all of a sudden, man, I'm a committed smoker. I'm 2 years into this thing, and now I can't smoke anymore.
well, guess what, kid? You got to quit.
It's even worse because apparently you found an article in the was it the Indianapolis Star?
Yeah, as I was looking this up, I'm like, I want to learn more about this Hawaii smoking law, and I found where it was there was an Indianapolis Star article where the Indiana Chamber of Commerce actually this year in 2017 recommended the Indiana State Legislature to raise the smoking age to 21.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea.
And I don't know if it's the current health commissioner that came out in support of it or a previous one.
Yeah, it was a previous health commissioner came out in support of it.
Was it the
he's
guy
still
that-
a surgeon?
It's the new Surgeon General guy.
No.
Surgeon General's Curtis Hill?
No, that's the Indiana
where,
Attorney General.
where does he practice at?
See, I have no idea. That is irrelevant information.
Danny wants to know if he can do an ankle surgery.
Yeah,
I've got some... I got you a job for you.
Yeah,
Got the
I mean-
black lung.
yeah. Hawaii's got those rules.
I'm just trying to figure out if it's
Jeff Sessions
No,
is
no,
the
no, no,
U.S.
no.
Attorney
No,
General.
the Surgeon General.
I could have told you that.
I
you
typed
didn't have,
the wrong
You didn't have
thing.
to use Google.
Surgeon General. Oh, goodness.
Enhance.
Enhance.
It's Jerome Adams.
Jerome Adams. Yeah, he was the guy that was the health commissioner. We've talked about it before here because he spoke in Newcastle.
Mhm.
But is he the guy? Is he your?
No, it wasn't Jerome Adams.
So it was a guy before Jerome.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, older guy than Jerome. So basically, I posted this to citizens of Henry County, and I was.
Danny's taking $5 out of what's my last $5? Stop it. I might need that.
My last...
What if I have to
$5?
bribe a police officer on the way home? And then what would I do? How bad would you feel?
I'm surprised that a police officer would accept $5.
It's a down payment.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
get paid well here.
Please continue.
Just give me the $5.
It's a start.
Hey, man, you guys got any of them speeders?
We're gonna be in so much trouble.
Yeah, I posted this on Citizens of Henry County. I was trying to get a rise out of people.
I just started.
I mean,
trolling
honestly,
you.
it wasn't a troll post, but I really was trying to get a rise out of people, like to see people debate over whether or not the smoking age should be 21.
There were a handful
Is
that
that why there's
thought.
a bullet point that says, "Do we care?"
Do you care?
Yeah, I mean,
I
mean that was the general consensus. It was like, no, like, why is this even a thing? Was what the people on Citizens of Henry County.
So here's
had
the
to say.
question: are vapors a part of this?
Yes, that's considered a tobacco product.
Well, did you communicate that? Because there's a lot of vapors, and they may have been. I mean, they get riled up about everything.
Yeah, they do. That's true.
We're
I should have really
spunky.
brought that out.
Danny is the.
I forgot we have a vapor.
Danny's
at
a
the table.
vapor.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why one of the bullet points is, do we even care?
Do you want
And,
to vape in here on the show?
No, I can refrain. I mean, somebody else's house. It's not my home. It's
So,
not outdoors.
All of a sudden, it starts
I
smelling
know
like
what-
berry in here.
or
Yeah.
mocha, whatever you smokes or vapes.
I like it to smell like vanilla custard, like a
That's
stripper.
right. I forgot you're a vanilla custard kind of guy.
Sprinkle a little glitter on it. You know, good times.
Doesn't that clog your port?
the porthole.
I mean,
Hey man, not that close.
I told
Danny.
you that in confidence, okay?
Hey, Danny, how's the porthole doing? Your porthole pretty clear?
Well, it is now.
The porthole in Newcastle's not doing too well.
The stripper glitter clogged up his porthole. I don't know what to do about him. And I got a text earlier from Sarah saying, "Be nice." Here I go.
No, on the smoking. Do you really think that if you change it to being 21 versus 18 to 28, does it matter?
I tried my first cigarette when I was 15.
Yeah, I lifted some smokes off my mom when I was probably 14.
So I came into Dakota's conversation and I said, "Hey, I think that it's just a matter of when we decide you're an adult, right? If you're we've decided as a society apparently you're an adult at 18, except for a couple of things where we think you're an adult at 21. But there are medical surveys that say, well, you're not really an adult, Dakota, until you're 25. So there's 3 adults in the room and you.
Yep.
Is that true? I don't know. So I said, well, maybe the happy medium is once you decide you're going to buy your own health insurance, then you're an adult. If you're 14 and you've got your full-time job and you want to go buy health insurance, then we'll let you smoke and gamble and drink as well.
If you're 14, if you're 8 years old working in the coal mines,
Then you can smoke.
by God, you can smoke.
But then if you demand to be 26 and still on mom and dad's health insurance, then we're not going to let you smoke yet because you're not old enough to be an adult.
Well, at that point, your parents shouldn't let you smoke because that just means their healthcare premiums are going to skyrocket.
We're talking to libertarians, and sometimes you just let the kids do what they want to do.
That's my compromise. That's my
But
compromise
they'll be like,
with
look,
everybody.
you can smoke, but we will not put you on an insurance plan.
Speaking of that, did you see where Canada just legalized euthanasia for children?
Canada did.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that if
seriously.
the kids act
Spangled
up, or
made
is
it
it
out
certain
alive.
kids?
No, for like mentally disabled children. The parents decide that it's the parents' choice now.
It's not euthanasia at that point, right?
That's murder.
Yeah.
But
So-
are they born?
Yes, they're born, and basically Canada. I know we're getting way off topic here, and I just read this article today, but like a long time ago, Canada was.
We took 2 weeks off. We didn't get any better at staying on topic, everybody.
Canada was like basically in the forefront of legalizing assisted suicide, doctor-assisted suicide.
Yep.
And so I guess some pediatricians have gotten a lot of requests to have it done to their children, like whether they're critically ill or whatever, to perform euthanasia. But you have to be a consenting adult in order to have it. In order to have doctor-assisted suicide,
You have to
Okay.
agree
you
to
have
kill
to,
your kid.
Yeah. So now the Canada, I guess the legislator, whoever it is, legislature in Canada, I don't know how their government works. Basically, they said, you know what?
They probably have to ask the Queen permission.
Yeah. They basically said, you know what? It's up to the parents. The child is the parent's property. So,
Then
Okay.
if that's the case, then it should be up to the parents to do it and see if they could live with it.
yeah.
Wow.
Assholes.
Man. It's kind of like me the other day. I got into a debate.
Let's make a decision. Let it be someone else's problem.
That's like me the other day. I was talking to somebody about all these sexual harassment cases, and they said something like, accused me of being a rape apologist.
Thoughts and prayers with
And-
Matt Lauer.
Yeah. And I basically stole the Ben Shapiro line and was like, rapists should be castrated or killed.
Yeah.
Like, and that just, I thought that would get a positive reaction. It did not.
Well, that's because there's a ton of people who are
Now you're just too harsh.
I was just going to say there's a lot of people who get even convicted.
No,
for
I'm
rape
just saying,
that
like,
aren't rapists.
if you're getting raped, if you got raped, I think, if I got raped by a person, I think it should be illegal for me to just go kill him.
Well, but not if you.
Well,
were
you
just
definitely should not be allowed to coach football.
Hey, got to defend that nap.
Oh man, is there anything else we need to add on this Indiana smoking thing? I'm
there's a ton
very
of statistics
I
here.
mean,
don't
I
know
have
where we're
I
going
have
with
some
this.
statistics here. Yeah, I mean, you totally skipped over them. Like, Indiana has a
Okay.
smoking
Totally
rate.
skipped
Let's
over
back up
Yeah.
the fact that Dakota actually is hosting this show. He read the introduction, so he is leading the bus here. He's driving Miss
I'm
Daisy.
trying to lead the bus, and you were trying to skip over things. Saying, are we done with this? No, we're not done with this. We're only on
You
2
can't
out of
argue
4
with me
bullet
like we're an old
points.
married couple. You have a new woman now.
Oh, is that how it is?
That's her. She's your. That's who you argue with. We're friends. I'm the one you complain to.
Oh, okay.
I about had to ask what was California, but I figured it out.
Yeah, you like that? I put
So
that in there.
there are 170 cities nationwide
You
that have
just
adopted
you
this
skipped
law,
another bullet point.
and 2 states, Hawaii and California,
Yep.
are the 2 states. So
Oh, that's California.
oh,
I
yeah.
figured it out.
I
Yeah.
figured it. Nice, me too.
Good.
Took me a
Yep,
second.
170
Out there on the left
cities
coast.
Eiffel Tower.
nationwide.
The Indiana has a smoking rate apparently of 22%. The United States of America has a rate of 18%.
Yeah.
I don't know who reports that they smoke or don't smoke.
And
That's
Indiana,
part of your insurance.
Yeah, it comes off your insurance, so that rate is probably a lot higher.
Have you ever not taken your insurance quiz?
They don't know who I am. Do I
Who
know
is
that my
this guy?
do I know that my company turns?
My insurance.
Their
when
stuff
you
into
sign
the
up,
federal
you
government?
Go, do you smoke? And you're like,
Yeah, but
yes
do
or
I know?
no.
Do they share data? Do they have to share data with the federal government or whoever the survey collector is?
Your
Yeah.
insurance provider probably just willingly gives it to him.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't agree to that.
you probably did because you signed up for their insurance.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
So I guess it's
You should have got that closer to the mic, so it would have sounded a lot.
is Jeremiah going to
It would
drink a
have made
beer?
Miller High Life.
I
Sound
don't
a
think
lot
that
better.
you're allowed to do that.
It's the champagne of
It's
beers.
the champagne of beers. It's champagne
It's
and
dry.
lime.
There's hardly any sugar.
Let's see.
America as a whole had a smoking rate of 43% in 1964.
Why did you pick 1964 for your data, sir?
That is that.
Was
is
that the peak?
What?
That's when they brought Jesus out of
That's
the
when they
schools.
changed the smoking limit to 18.
Yep, they took prayer out of schools and people started smoking.
It's a fact.
Nancy Reagan.
Thank
just
you,
say
Danny,
no.
on the sports desk. Yeah, so
Okay, now
We've
now
cut
we're
it in half.
completely done.
We're done
we
with it.
have,
We're
we
done
have
with the
hacked
topic.
this to death, and
We have-
basically,
Well, weren't we going to talk about this Henry County thing? I guess we skipped that completely.
what did we skip? What did we talk about in Henry County?
I thought there was something that was going on in Henry County.
No.
was there?
All right, well.
No, Concerned Citizens Henry County. Dakota posted
No,
it there and got some
ISP
opinions.
stuff. I just now remembered, but it's fine.
We
I don't
talked
really-
about it a little bit.
Oh,
We're
okay.
fine. We're going to tear up the show notes. That's the end of those.
I do have
So-
a correction.
Okay, Danny's on the sports desk. Final thoughts over here. We're going to start the rotation around the table here. I know my final thoughts are going to take a little while, so Daniel Paul Morrell on sports. You have a correction and final thoughts.
First correction was prayer was taken out of schools in 1962.
You should remember that from the Carmen Licordello song back in the day.
Yeah. So
Don't
final
know who that
thoughts. One, congratulations to Dakota and Audrey. That's really awesome. Proud of you guys. I hope you guys
Danny.
have a wonderful marriage and enjoy your life together.
Would
I
have been
guess-
a very nice toast if you had been there in person.
Yeah, well. Maybe.
It would have been. And like, I even told you how you could make some money.
I know. I thought that you were just trying to employ me. I thought you wanted me to just drive your
I'm just
drunken
telling-
buddies.
I was just telling you, dude. Like, you could have made some serious dough out there.
Our ride in had a 47-point turn to get into the
Yeah.
venue. I haven't been there in the daylight in a long time, so I don't know how tight it was.
It's
but we were in the
tight.
longest stretch limo ever, and your guy had to turn about 40 times to get into the
Yeah,
White
and
Hill
he
T-turn.
also missed the drive, and since it's a dead end, he had to like back all the way up.
It felt like we were in a plane backing up
I have
from
a
the
question.
gate.
Yeah.
Did he have to back up before he unloaded?
Yes. Before he unloaded his passengers, he did have
Yes,
to back.
he did.
He successfully backed up in the unload.
He did a really good job.
That's-
I was impressed.
As long as
Yeah,
everyone's
we-
happy afterwards.
We even had somebody that left their Jeep at the reception venue for 2 days afterwards. And we got a call from the people who hosted it, and they were very far from happy. Monica actually ended up like getting a lecture from them. Apparently, they were very disappointed in
It's
us.
not like Thanksgiving time is their busiest time of the year,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
They said they were very disappointed in us and our guests because they had to sweep cigarette butts off of the deck and had to clean up after us.
Well, they were all 18 or older, so it was fine.
Well, and never mind the fact that they literally have a party barn out there.
And you paid them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was raining.
No, I mean,
It was raining.
I mean, there's no smoking signs posted anywhere. They're just lucky none of us smoked inside.
I think that's, yeah, I would
mean,
take
that's
that
fair,
mindset.
right? I'm private property.
No sign.
All
What are
right.
you gonna do? No, final thoughts. Thanks again. Holiday season's coming up. Spend a lot of time with your family and friends. We got to spend Thanksgiving together and spend Thanksgiving with our significant others, which was great. But just enjoy your time with each other and be a good person.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you,
There's
Danny.
a lot of love.
How
from-
to follow Danny? D-Max Juice?
Yeah, that's
Twitter?
one of them. Twitter.
I don't think I follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, it's
D-Max Juice.
yeah.
It's mostly Danny
Probably.
talking to Dan Dockich.
Yeah.
You don't even have a. Do you have a D? You still have a D-Max, don't you?
Is
Yeah,
that for
I
sale?
do.
Is that available for
Well,
purchase yet?
it's getting fixed currently. It's getting some brake work.
What's
Seems
the
like
juice part?
it's actually a programmer.
he's
that's
like-
on it. A
he's-
diesel programmer.
Okay,
Gives
I'm
it a
just
little-
curious.
gives it
people
a-
how some-
He's like the juice,
when people get
O.J.
weird
Simpson.
like handles and aliases. I'm like, how did you? Why
Dakota
that?
with a sports reference over there.
Yeah.
He was a great actor.
It's because we've
OJ.
been watching The People versus O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story.
Yeah, some people loved him.
He was good in the Naked
His
Gun
wife
movies.
didn't.
That is such a good TV show.
Say what
such
you
a
want,
good
but he was
miniseries.
great in the Naked Gun movies with Leslie Nielsen.
He was also really good driving that Ford Bronco.
He didn't
Actually,
drive the
no,
Ford
that was
Bronco.
AC, sorry.
Al Cowlings did. Some of us lived through that and watched it
I
live on
was in-
television,
I was
and some of
drinking
you weren't alive yet.
School dairy milk, which doesn't make sense.
Dairy Milk.
I'm on drugs for
Soy milk wasn't around yet.
I'm on drugs for a cold. So
All right. Well, thank you, Danny, very much for joining us today.
Well, you're very welcome.
All right.
thank you for Danny. Thank you,
Thank
Danny,
you.
for showing up.
Thank you, Danny. Jesse,
Hi, sir.
my escort into the tallest building in the state of Indiana.
Whoa.
Hey.
That's not legal in Indiana.
We didn't do anything that wrong.
That's true. I did get you.
It was
free
like going
coffee.
through the Hooley headquarters. It was incredible. Free coffee, badges swiping in and out, meditation rooms,
Yeah,
pool
it's-
tables, and
Is there really a meditation room?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just found it when I
it's
showed you.
crazy. I knew
knew it existed. I just have never been.
That
in
is
there.
such
If you've
a
watched
progressive company.
If you've watched the internship or Silicon Valley, it was just like those kinds of places. I was blown away. I thought they were faking it in those, but it was literally like going through there. Beanbag chairs everywhere, and
The
free.
beanbag chairs. Oh, there's chairs that look like rocks.
Yeah,
They had
somebody had a
stepped
rock
up.
formation at their desk.
Yeah, they had it. Well, they had it like a snowman. Like they had them piled up like it was a
Yeah.
worker.
As you walk around the tower, there's a paved road and the carpet, and then grass where you sit.
Which our friend Mark, educated me that was what that was.
Our friend, yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, any final thoughts? You got anything to pitch? We got a libertarian meeting coming up here Sunday. You can join us at Montgomery Steakhouse on Sunday.
I will probably be there since I'm your secretary.
Jesse's an officer. Dakota's an officer. I'm just a guy.
We need to do some stuff. I almost hit you up today, but
We can do that offline.
no, I know. I'm just saying.
I turned off the wrong mic.
Turned off my mic.
Well, that's the end of Jesse.
All right, that was the best goodbye I've ever had. I don't have any last thoughts.
How do people follow you? Indie Fat Kid on the Instagram?
Indie Fat Kid on Instagram, Jesse the Libertarian on Facebook, or you can follow me. I think it's just Jesse Riddle on Twitter. So
All right, very good. Thank you, Jesse, for joining us. It's your second time on the show, third appearance.
third or fourth, actually.
We appreciate it very much. It's been a while. You were here in the single-digit episode, so if people go scrolling back, they'll find Jesse, and we're glad to have you back on the Boss Hog Liberty podcast.
Don't go scrolling back.
Scrolling back.
I mean, I don't know if I've been on here. I have. I was going to say Cricket service is great now.
Yeah. We can say Cricket because Tanner no longer works for them.
He doesn't work for Brisket Wireless
He's
anymore.
not at the Brisket Wireless.
Poor
They,
guy.
I'm
He
looking.
didn't he passed his drug test and everything.
Is he still alive?
He's still serving his suspension.
He's
No, but is he still alive? I haven't seen him online.
I'm assuming
Yes,
he's
still
doing
alive.
okay.
That's not it.
I mean, I hadn't seen Dakota in 2 weeks, but I had a pretty good hope he
The
was
last
still alive.
time somebody made a joke about Tanner maybe being dead, it was deemed very inappropriate.
Yeah, we don't do that. Dakota, final thoughts, buddy. What you got?
My final thoughts. I was trying to save the little kid euthanasia story for my final thoughts, but I accidentally slipped it out.
I'm sorry.
So there was my final thoughts. It was right in the middle of the Indiana smoking age. So
That's the way it goes.
But basically, I do want to promote our Henry County Libertarian Party meeting on December 3rd at Montgomery Steakhouse in Spiceland, Indiana.
We'll be upstairs.
We'll be upstairs. We have the entire upstairs of the steakhouse rented. Yes, we do usually eat dinner while we're there. It's just a good time to come out, meet with area libertarians, see what we're all about, talk to people who might be like-minded, just like you, and to see who might be running, who's not going to run, just talk about a little business, and then we just hang out for the rest of the time. So just come out there, Montgomery's in Spiceland, Indiana. Hope to see a bunch of people there. Hopefully it's a good turnout, just like we had last time.
So, final thoughts from me. The Courier-Times, our local newspaper, we've had a number of reporters from the Courier-Times on here. They reported a story today that the headline, and you can go to their website and read the full story. It says, murder suspects arrested in Henry County, twin brothers accused of mob-style murder in New York. This happened back in September, but it's just now, the full story is coming out, and I feel like this is something that a movie is going to be made on. Twin brothers, Louis and Vincent Iacano.
It'll probably be shot at your house again.
36 years old, of Brooklyn, New York, were arrested September 6th. They were on I-70. Henry County, I-70 goes across the southern part of the county. They were near Wilbur Road, which is our exit furthest to the east. The PACE team, the drug enforcement team, finds them with a bad license, expired license or something.
They had paint on their license plate.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, this dude pulled him over for having paint on their license plate.
Was it completely painted? I
don't know. I don't know that information. It just says they had paint on their license plate.
They got pulled over, and one of the guys gets out, or somehow they wound up in a chase. They wound up going all the way to the Newcastle exit, State Road 3, exit, go north, pull into the Walmart, and then next to it is our local community college. They get back out, jump over the dirt into the community college, run around that parking lot, get out, run back to the Walmart, go inside. One of the guys runs inside and gets arrested, right at the cashiers. Turns out the Iacano brothers are wanted for murder in New York City.
And not just any murder.
Not just any murder. It is killing a member of the Gambino crime family. Mob-style execution. They pulled the guys...
They beat his head in with a hammer, wrapped him in a tarp, tied it down with cinder blocks, and threw him in the river.
They pulled him... Yeah, they pulled him out of the East
Scarface.
River.
I'm pretty sure that's just how stuff happens in New York.
Yeah.
When people talk about it, that's how they died.
If you go onto the Courier-Times Facebook page and you look at the pictures of these guys, it's...
What
jail
you
just
did they
look
put
at them
them
and you're
they were in Henry County
they're
jail.
involved.
So they escaped.
No, I'm totally shocked that they didn't get out of the Henry County jail.
No, they tried to. One of the
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, one of the brothers.
The stories I've heard that
it says that one of the brothers faked a seizure and tried fighting a female corrections officer and tried taking her taser. And then other officers pursued him, and he was taken back to the jail. So I think that he actually got out for a momentary little bit. Tasted the sweet freedom one more time for about 3 seconds.
Trying to get that sweet Italian food down the street.
Yeah, probably.
Go visit
I mean, you look at these guys, and you could just imagine him sitting there at a round table in a dimly lit pizza restaurant with a cigar, multiple rings, going, "Okay, so." Tony.
Top hat number 2.
Her pizza's terrible here. We got to get out of this town.
Why does everybody like this?
Yeah, the guy they killed, Carmine Carini Carmine.
Carmine.
That is the most Guido name in New York.
Oh, Guido. That's
pretty offensive, bro.
Yeah, Jer. I feel like we should say 3 Hail Marys for that.
And Jer's
Lord, I
apologize.
Yeah.
And I really hope the Gambino family isn't listening.
Yeah, no kidding. We have New York ties, so
don't worry, cousin Donnie and Jimmy will take care of us. Dan.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have New York family too.
They're up on the river.
We're connected up on the North River, not the East River, the very North River. Oh, yeah, so they pled these guys out, and I think they're being exported back to New York City.
They found the bloody hammers in the back of in the trunk of the car, by the way.
So I don't know how often this happens, but allegedly they found 2 twin murderers in our Newcastle
I
Walmart.
found out about
For
this
sure that doesn't happen a lot.
I found out about this whenever Cade Koger, an avid listener of our podcast,
Episode 30.
yeah, tagged me in the Facebook story of the Henry County Pace team. So I know Chris Spangle for We Are Libertarians does like the hashtag wall news. I'm not going to get that fancy. Just freaking tag my name or Jeremiah's name in something. Like,
Yeah,
that
you wanna
works.
see
That's
it,
going to work
tag
better.
us. Just craziness. So anyway, that was my final thoughts. Just I'm probably on the mob hit list now, but so
I was gonna say, if you disappear, like that is my story. I'm like, well,
I need to start gaining weight again to make myself more difficult to run off.
A little
with.
more buoyant. I'd like to go back to my final thought. At the end of the day,
Did you just
be
say
a good,
buoyant?
Yeah, let's just be a good person, okay? And then we'll all be all right.
Oh man. Thank everybody for listening. We do appreciate it. This is right at the hour and a half we typically do on the show. You can listen to us on Indiana Talk Saturdays and Sundays at noon. Like and subscribe on Facebook, and of course you can follow us on the YouTube. We're still trying to get to that 100 followers. We're real close. Appreciate a few more listens there. So share this stuff on Facebook. That's how we grow. We will see you all next time.
Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at We'reLibertarians.com.